Thank you for joining, guys. This is the Oracle Machine Learning Office Hours usage highlight session. Today, Ralf Mueller is going to be taking us through the Oracle process automation with real-time OML services scoring. My name is Marco Sanasibia, and together with Cheryl Monica and Mark Hornick, we're going to be supporting Ralf in this call. So if you have at any point questions about Oracle Machine Learning Services, please do not hesitate to put them in the Q&A window, and then we'll be more than happy to help you. So with that, I would like to do a quick introduction. So Ralf is an architect in the intelligent automation and works with the process automation intelligence. And because he's going to be speaking about a few roadmap items, we need to show you the safe harbor. But then thank you, Ralf, for joining, and take it away.
So I'll start with giving a little bit of context. What is digital process automation and where does machine learning fit in here? Then, talking about the use of OML services for scoring in automation. I would like to give a little demo, how it's used and where we use it. And then talk a little bit, about the roadmap on what is our product plan with OML services in process automation. And then we open it up for Q&A and some closing statements from Marcus. Okay, I need to hit the button. So digital process automation, what is it? So digital process automation really helps automate business processes within an organization. And you might be all familiar with the term business process management, and digital process automation is not that much difference. But in the first phase of business process management, it was really more about for organizations to, turn their paper-based processes and workflows and really digitize them and make use of business process management software and tools. Digital process automation assumes that now the processes have been digitized already and they are ready to be optimized. And so machine learning fits into here where, we want to help users make better decisions through, predictions and stuff like that. Certainly, we also want to help automate tasks that today require human involvement. Imagine, something like travel approval or purchase approval. So we are looking into using machine learning to automate some of the steps in the process. And then certainly focus on customer outcome. And what does that mean? So for example, we can use machine learning to predict, on SLA violations in the process and things like that. So there's really a broad spectrum of use cases where machine learning can be used in process automation. And Oracle Machine Learning gives us a platform and is a key enabler for intelligent automation. And I will come to some of the use cases in a second. So when it comes to our cloud service for process automation, we enable, or we have like two types of processes that users can use. One is the classical structured business processes you see on the left-hand side. So those are the classical sequence flow-based processes where you have activities. And the activities are connected by sequence flows, meaning that one activity is followed by the other activity based on those arrows between those boxes. There is actually an ISO standard for it, which is BPMN 2.0, which we are using in our cloud service. On the other hand, there are use cases where those structured business processes are not sufficient. And those are use cases where you need a more event and data-driven methodology, like stuff like patient care or complicated insurance claims. Those are better modeled using dynamic business processes. And this is an example here. And later in the demo, I'll show you a little bit more of a dynamic business process and where we use machine learning there. Okay, so when it comes to where is process automation used, certainly we have external customers, but I want also to highlight that There are many internal Oracle customers, primarily in the SaaS space, where they use process automation for approval workflows. Most of the time, you won't see that there is process automation under the carpet, like in HCM or CRM. And we have a couple of other SaaS and Fusion Apps teams that we are working with for process automation. Okay, so now where does OML Services come into the picture here? And why do we want to use OML Services for real-time scoring? So when you look at our tool set, Oracle Integration Cloud and Process Automation, this is really in the space of no-code, low-code platform services. So in that regard, OML Services really fit nicely into that kind of a paradigm, because it'll give us the user experience that we need for our users, to use those services. So our users in process automation are primarily business analysts or enterprise architects that are used to a kind of a drag and drop experience. So those are not, core hardcore Java developers and those people. It's more like, the business analysts who are used to a no-code kind of an experience. So in that regard, we were pleasantly surprised that, few months ago, AutoML UI made it into the offering, which gives us a nice user experience to actually train and deploy machine learning models into production. There is, machine learning model lifecycle management that we use, so that people can manage their machine learning models from training to deployment. And certainly, the kind of machine learning functionality covers a broad spectrum, from the classical machine learning algorithms for classification, clustering, all those kind of things. But also, we now have support of ONNX-based models for classification and regression, and also quite important for process automation, because it's all about human involvement. We can use cognitive text services, for example, to do sentiment analysis, or to do keyword extraction, or give a summary of comments or document attachments to the processes. And very important aspect, it is all part of the Autonomous Database offering, which many of the Oracle customers are using today. So it doesn't require any new service per se. Okay, so where do we use those OML services, real-time scoring and process automation? So there are a couple of use cases. Certainly, I mentioned earlier that we want to support the user to make better decisions. So we can use machine learning models to give additional information to the user, to guide him in the process, to give him report on SLA violations, those kind of things. Or we do assist him and reduce human involvement in the process, meaning that we would automatically act on a task, maybe based on a classification model. We could automatically send notifications based on some SLA violations, for example. So assume you have a regression model that predicts the completion time of your process, and if that prediction is under a certain or over a certain value, you can start sending out notifications to your process stakeholders, or you can automatically trigger a fraud handling process where you detect some fraud in your data. So as you see, there is like a really broad set of use cases for machine learning in process automation. Cool. So now let me switch over and demo a little bit of that. So first of all, this is my autonomous data warehouse instance that I'm using. So for folks who haven't seen it, there is this AutoML capability here where you can see your experiments that you were running. So one of the examples I'm giving today is I'll have a sales approval classification model that, you know, classifies sales requests, whether they should be approved or not. And then on the, you know, model management and deployment side, you can go to this models page. You can actually see the kind of deployments that you have in your OML repository. I'm not clicking on this one. I just wanted to show that, you know, those are like all real models here on my AEW instance that I have. So demo is like two things. First of all, I want to run a end-to-end process, and I have a rental car application, and I believe everybody knows what rental car use case or what rental car is about. So this is the process, and I talked about, so this is a dynamic process, and the way to read this process is it is structured in like 3 stages. So there's a booking stage, you know, where the customer, he did the car reservation, and you have a customer desk to verify the booking. Then you have a pickup phase in your process where you have a customer desk. You know, this is where the customer shows up at the rental car station to pick up the car. So there are certain activities going on there. And then finally, you have a return phase where the customer is returning the car back to the rental car station. And in those, what we call stages, you have like certain activities that, you know, can be either manually activated or that happen automatically. So in this example, in the pickup stage, I have like 2 activities, predict car miles per gallon and predict car acceptance, that do some prediction on the selected car. And I'm not going to explain that in more detail now because this will take another hour to complete, but let me try to run this process, and then you might, then you get an idea how that works. So this is actually the process workspace. It's an that allows users to, you know, start, instantiate and interact with processes. So I wanted to start this rental car process. So I give some name here. I can select the pickup date. Let us, you know, select this one. Can select the return date, and then I can say, okay, I'm starting somewhere in Redwood City, and there is some logic behind that gives me the, you know, the city and state from some service, and I want to go to Chicago, and hopefully it, yep. And then I have a Mazda, very old car with a large luggage, 2-door car with 4 people. So that is the kind of, you know, information that a customer might give when he wants to rent a car. So now, as part of this, there is a case, what we call a case being started. There are actually 2. One is still running, but this one was the latest that I just started. So I can come here, and on the top you see, like, you know, what we call milestones. So we started the process, and there was some car pick, and we are in the car pickup stage now. So this booking stage is active, and this pickup stage is available. So what I need to do is the guy at the rental car station, he needs to verify the booking. He can actually, you know, put some comments here that says, okay, something like customer is coming late or something like that. And then if he wants to make progress in that process, he needs to claim that task. Then I can click on this again, and I can say submit. So now that means the booking was verified and some comments were given, and under the carpet what happened, the booking stage is completed and the pickup stage becomes active. And so now I have my customer desk activity active. This is when the customer is coming to the rental car station, and the guy at the rental car station can open this customer desk activity. And now what you see here, you know, under the carpet, we went out and used OML services for real-time scoring, and we did like we used like two machine learning models here. One is a classification model that tells me if the car is an acceptable car or not. So this is based on some information like the car model, the luggage size, the number of doors, and number of people. And there is also a regression model that predicts the mileage per gallon, also based on the car model and some other data. So this shows, that additional information is given to the to the employee of the rental car station, and he can say, okay, the car seems to be an acceptable car, and I can claim this, and I'll approve. I come here again, and I'll approve this. And then the process continues, and I will stop here. So it means also that the car is ready for the customer, so the customer can take the car and move away. So this is one example, where we use that shows where we use OML services for real-time scoring, simply to give additional information to the user that he can use to make decisions in the process and eventually activate some other activities based on those decisions. Let me quickly switch over to so this is an Oracle Integration Cloud instance that I'm having. And here I wanted to show you how that can be used in process applications that are more like structured processes. So I have this sales approval application, and I'm not going to show you how to run it. I'd like to focus more on the build part of it. So let me open that. So here and today, so this is production Oracle Integration Cloud as you get it today. So what you need to do today is we have this concept of integrations, and integrations is like really, it can be an integration flow from Oracle integration, or it can be also a REST adapter. So what I did here is I created an OML Services REST adapter here, and I have like two resources. One is to get an access token from the OML services. I need to retrieve an access token in order to score against some model. So this is what this resource does. And then I have a sales classification resource that I can use to score against a machine learning model. And on the top, you see like the kind of an endpoint. And if you looked earlier, we had a sales approval classification model deployed on OML services. So this is how you would model that today in a process application in Oracle Integration Cloud. And then you can go to the process and use that OML service there. So this is a very simple sales approval process. It started with some form. Then today, you need to get the access token before you can do the OML scoring part, and then you can use the other resource to score against the model. So if I click on that one, you see there is a service call used here, and we are using the sales classification resource and the score operation here. Whereas in this service task, this is also a service call, but this is to get like the access token. And then all you need to do is you need to do data mapping. And from the OML service, we can introspect the contract for the machine learning model. And so meaning that on the input side, you see like the input records. And on this side, you can map the data objects to the from the form to the input of the scoring and of the scoring resource, and then you on the way back for the output, you can get the result from the from the scoring of that machine learning model and put it back into some process data objects. And okay, so, and then certainly you can model this, approve this gateway here, where you can put a condition that says, okay, the condition is the prediction label equals no. So only when the prediction label equals no, I'm going this route in the process where I have someone approve the sales request before I continue in the process. And so that is one part where you can use OML services in process automation. But in Integration Cloud itself, we have like also, and people familiar with Oracle Integration Cloud, we not only have process and process applications there, but we also have integrations. And integrations, you can basically specify connections and integration flows. So this shows basically the system-to-system integration component of Oracle Integration Cloud. And I have modeled a sales approval scorer connection here, and I can actually test it. And it connects to my backend service, OML scoring service, and it tests successfully. So the benefit of using an integration today for OML services is basically that the REST capability of the integration flow is a little bit more advanced than what we have in process automation, in the sense that you don't have to model the, getting the access token and the scoring as two separate things. You can actually have the security configuration embedded in your scoring endpoint because the integration supports, OAuth Two Legged Flows. Okay, so with that, I finished the demo, and I'm going back to the slide deck. And I have one more slide on the roadmap. So you have seen that we used OML services for real-time scoring, basically using the raw REST interfaces that are given to us by the OML services. But certainly we want to provide a better user experience for that. And what we are working on at the moment is we want to make machine learning a first-class citizen in process applications. And we worked with the OML team for the last 2 years to make sure that the kind of REST APIs that are there allow us to introspect the OML model repository and pretty much give a better user experience when it comes to consuming machine learning or deployed machine learning models for scoring. So essentially, we are enhancing our tool set that allow you to, browse and select the machine learning models you need in your business process. We are also enhancing our expression builders so that you can use the output of machine learning scoring into some of the expressions, for some of the data conditions or the decision gateways in the process directly. Without additional data mappings to process data and that kind of stuff. Okay, and with that, I'm done, and I hand it over and I hand it back to Marcos.
Thank you very much, Ralf. It was a very, very interesting presentation and demo. Really appreciate it. So guys, just for your information, of course, for OML services, you can always get to our documentation. So this documentation is the production version of the REST API. And in the next slide, we have a few links for you. So with this, basically, always remember that in GitHub, we have all of the OML services demos. We have collections of Postman that you guys can try out and test. And finally, we are going to have next week our hands-on lab using machine learning services. So if you guys want to join us, it's going to be a longer session, 90-minute session. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually let you guys work with it, build models, and then deploy the models and test them using Postman and REST API so that you get more familiarity with it. So that's it, just opening for Q&A. And I see, Ralf, we already had one question. Ralf, will OIC ship with any pre-built processes with OML included?
Well, at some point, you know, in Oracle Integration Cloud, we have these quick start applications, and I guess we try to bring that back. Question is, I mean, you would need some data and you know, so we are thinking about it, but maybe it's a little bit difficult to give like out of the box examples. We are thinking about, you know, yes, giving process examples like the sales approval example, or maybe the car rental, but we need to work out the details on how we can give a combined OML and process pre-builds. Yeah, that is something we need to sort out.
Okay. And then we have a few questions in the chat, if you can see them and you can read them.
Yes. So there is one question: only modal built in OML can be fit into OIC. Well, basically, we consume whatever capability is out there in OML, we are able to consume in OIC. And today, I mean, this is a rich set of algorithms in the Oracle database plus the Onyx support, and we can consume all of that, and the cognitive text, and we can consume all of that in OIC. What else?
And they can fit a model built with SaaS.
Can we fit model built into SaaS important? And well, I guess that is more a question for the OML team. We don't have anything with oh no, you're not talking about SaaS the company. Is there a missing A? Maybe you're talking about.
No, I think he's probably talking about SaaS the company.
SaaS.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So in that case, what we have some customers running SaaS. What they need to do is actually we require them to have the model published into Onyx. So SaaS has a few models that can be transformed into Onyx format. And those models then we can ingest and use in OML services to deploy. So that could be a possibility. But there is a limited number of models in SaaS that can be used, can be transformed into Onyx, but they do have that capability. So that might be an option.
Okay, I guess, are there any other questions?
I think that's it.
That's pretty much it.
Yes, perfect. So thank you very much, Ralf. It was really a great session. Thank you everyone for joining us, and see you next Tuesday.
Thanks, Marcos. Thanks, guys, for attending, and have a good day.
Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.